I stare at the phone's glow, reading her message over and over, each line cutting deeper than the one before. Cancel the wedding. Found someone better. Don't make this harder than it has to be. There was no call, not even the decency of saying it face to face. Just a cold, detached text from the woman I was supposed to marry in 6 weeks. My thumb hovered over reply. My chest burned. Humiliation and fury collided in my gut. I typed slowly, deliberately, hand shaking but the word steady. Already done. Then I hit send. Before the fall, her name was Claire. To me, she'd always been light, the kind of person whose presence warmed a room. We met at a mutual friend's engagement party 3 years ago. She wore an emerald dress that made her eyes look full of secrets I thought I'd spend my life uncovering. From the start, I was the practical one, the planner thinking about mortgages and retirement. She was fire, spontaneous, alive, laughing at midnight because the world without sparks felt dull. Somehow we fit. At least, I believe we did. For months we planned the wedding. Picking flowers, tasting cakes, arguing over playlists. We had fights, of course, but I assumed that was normal. I never saw this coming. Looking back, the signs were there, small cracks I ignored because I trusted her. Late nights she blamed on work. The time she seemed distant when I spoke, eyes flicking to a buzzing phone. The sudden insistence on separate bank accounts until after the wedding. I told myself it was stress. Weddings are overwhelming. She still kissed me goodnight. Still whispered, "Love you," before leaving. But those words had started to feel like lines from a script she no longer wanted to perform. When her text arrived, I sat frozen in the dark of our shared apartment. The same apartment I'd chosen for us. Painted for us. Packed with furniture that still smelled like fresh wood and promises. My first reaction was denial. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe she was testing me. But Claire wasn't cruel for sport. If she said she found someone better, she meant it. I pictured her typing those words from someone else's bed, hair tangled on his pillow. My stomach knotted and climbed up my throat. Then another thought. How long had this been happening, even when she sat across from me at dinner? An hour later, my phone buzzed again. "Ethan, can we talk?" Her name glowed on the screen. My fiancée, my almost wife, my betrayer. Against my better judgment, I answered. "Talk," I said, voice flat. There was a pause, then a shaky breath. "I didn't want you to find out like this." She started. I met someone. It wasn't supposed to happen, but it did. He makes me feel alive in a way I haven't in a long time. I closed my eyes alive, as if the life we built was some slow death. "So you decided to humiliate me with a text?" I cut in. "Easier for you," she said, wincing through the line. Her silence afterward confirmed everything. Finally she whispered, "I'm sorry." Sorry tasted like ash. Already done. The truth was I had canceled the wedding earlier that day, though not the way she imagined. 2 nights before, a mutual friend had let slip that she'd seen Claire dining with a man introduced as her boyfriend. Claire had brushed it off when confronted, but the seed was planted. That morning I called the venue and asked them to hold the booking, just in case. Something quiet inside me knew love shouldn't feel so heavy, so uncertain. So when Claire sent that message, my reply wasn't bluff. The wedding was off. Deposits were disputed. Our dream day evaporated before her confession. What she didn't know was I wouldn't chase her. I wouldn't beg for someone who'd already chosen to leave. The days that followed blurred together. My mother phoned each morning, worry tight in her voice. Friends texted variations of, "You're better off without her." I smiled and pretended their words were enough, but inside I felt hollow. Nights were worse. Half asleep, I'd reach for her and find cold, empty sheets. The apartment's silence mocked me. I wondered about the man she'd left me for. Did he know she was engaged? Did it matter? Or was I just a stepping stone? The humiliation gnawed deeper than the heartbreak. Love can heal. Betrayal scars in ways no one sees. 2 weeks later, I ran into her in a grocery store. She looked radiant in that effortless way, but guilt flashed in her eyes when she saw me. "Ethan," she whispered, as if saying my name might shatter me. I kept pushing my cart. "Claire," I said. She fell into step beside me, hands twisting. I know I don't deserve to ask, but how are you? I laughed, sharp and bitter. How do you think? Her lip trembled. For a breath, I thought she might cry, but then she lifted her chin, defiant. I had to follow my heart. Your heart? I echoed. What about mine? You ripped it out with a text, Claire. Was it your heart speaking or cowardice? Her face went pale. People glanced our way. She murmured, I'm sorry, again, and walked off, clutching her basket like it might steady her. I watched her go and realized I felt nothing. No anger, no longing, just emptiness. That night, I wrote a letter I never planned to send. I told her I'd loved her in ways she'd never understand. I'd given every steady piece of myself, believing it was enough. Maybe that was a problem. Maybe she didn't want steady. Maybe she wanted chaos disguised as passion. I wrote that when the fire burned out and all that remained were ashes, I hoped she'd remember the home we almost built, the life we almost had. But I wouldn't wait. I'd already canceled the wedding. I'd buried the future she abandoned. I'd find someone who wouldn't mistake steadiness for boredom or loyalty for chains. Goodbye. I folded the letter and slid it into a drawer, a private gravestone for a relationship that never reached the altar. Healing wasn't instant. Nights I scrolled our old photos. Mornings I half expected her voice in the kitchen. Slowly I relearned to breathe without her. I ran at dawn until the cold air cut into my lungs. I reconnected with friends neglected during the wedding scramble. I began a journal, filling pages with honesty I'd never shared. Day by day the weight on my chest eased. Months later, Claire reached out again. Her message was longer. I made a mistake. He wasn't who I thought. Miss, can we talk? I stared at the screen. My hands were steady this time. My chest didn't burn. I put the phone down, stepped outside, and felt the evening breeze on my face. For the first time in months, it didn't sting. It felt like freedom.